what you saved your pocket change for. The greatest show in the 580. Southern Oklahoma Speedway. Off of turn number 4, coming to the checkered flag. He's going to set him up going into turn number 1. Slide job. It's showtime. Race fans, this is what you saved your pocket change for. The greatest show in the 580. Southern Oklahoma Speedway. Off of turn number 4, coming to the checkered flag. He's going to set him up going into turn number 1. Slide job. It's showtime. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first edition of the Race Shop Live. It's issue number 15 of the Race Shop podcast, now brought to you fully by Full Velocity Sim Racing Television. We are on the line right now with Phil Lacasse and Todd Sutton. We're ready to have a great episode tonight as we are bringing to you an interview with Bobbi Johnson. We're going to have a little bit of talk before and after, so we're going to have the meat of this episode in the middle, and then you're going to get a Phil Lacasse, a Todd Stanton, and a Jake Keel sandwich here. Phil, I know you're on the line. You're ready to go here in your first podcast outing. How you doing tonight?
Well, we're doing outstanding, Jake, and it's so cool to come out here, just a completely different format here with Full Velocity Radio, the Race Shop podcast. To all you people tuning in for the first time, familiar with our voice, a whole different audience that, is catered to this show. But to our viewers and the ones that have followed us for a long time, welcome to the Race Shop podcast. Jake Keel, thanks for having us aboard. I can't wait to see where this voyage is going to take us, but only good things ahead, and Todd, I know you're equally as excited as I am to get started with this week's edition.
Yeah, I've been excited here all week long, all the build up to the podcast here tonight. Glad to be a part of it. Thank you, Jake, for making us a part of it. Full Velocity TV, Full Velocity Radio. I think Nascar Productions, all those great sponsors out there. Spotify Firearms, Dirt Series. Series of sponsors, Full Velocity. Can't forget DWR, Hobo Racing League. Those guys do a fantastic job too, and many, many other supporters of Full Velocity TV. And Jake, thank you for letting us have an appearance here.
Yeah, I'm glad to have y'all on. It's going to be a great night. I'm excited to get this started. I want to thank some of our personal sponsors of the podcast. Before we get started, Harold Fab and Chassis. Call Harold Fab and Chassis for any of your modified or stock car needs at 580-504-9091. Crazy Jay's Kettle Corn out of Texas. He shows up to Southern Oklahoma Speedway each and every week to bring delicious popcorn and pork rinds to you, as well as Ibex Motorsports for all of your bumper, your roll bar, your parts needs. Call Ibex Motorsports out of Oklahoma City, bringing you all the greatest modified and stock car parts out there. And of course, Monstar Productions, Full Velocity Radio, and now Full Velocity TV, bringing this platform, guys. We're here. We're live, finally. We've been talking about it forever. We're going to have Bobbi Johnson on the line here momentarily. But, Phil, how excited are you to be making your podcast debut tonight?
Oh, super stoked, and I can't wait to hear this entire sit-down you've done with Bobby Johnson. This is going to be an outstanding interview. Now, admittedly, I'm a guy, who everybody that knows me or guys just hearing my voice for the first time out there that are new to Full Velocity Radio and to the entire platform of stuff we have done, that I've done most of my broadcasting in the sim racing community, online racing, but going back, into the real world now, I live up in the northeast part of Connecticut. If anybody's ever heard of the Thompson Speedway, well, that's home base for me. I live in asphalt modified country up here. So to get to know guys like Jake Keel, my buddy Todd Stanton, my partner, who is a dirt guy, Jake living right in the hotbed of where all this action lies. This is going to be as much an education for me as anything else, learning more about this world. But being a sprint car enthusiast, from a fan from the Northeast that doesn't have a dirt track within 300 miles of here, I was a big fan of Jason Johnson Racing, that number 41, very near to me. I watched him win a lot of races, through the years, through all the different types of platforms. But as we've talked about, and I know we'll continue to talk about, the outreach of sprint car racing right now and dirt racing as a whole is really in a live and well place as far as, the way of medias are streaming out there, the accessibility to it. But where I come from now, this was not the case like, say, 10, 15 years ago. So being indoctrinated into the world, learning all the ins and outs to it, having the exposure to the dirt modified racing scene up in the upstate New York area, it's a learning experience for me. So I can't wait to be a part of this conversation, the dialogue every week, and all these great interviews got lined up. It makes it even more sweet, and it's going to give me an education by fire. So I'm thrilled to be a part of this.
Well, Phil, I mean, you've acclimated to the dirt through the iRacing area, but of course, you said you're a asphalt guy for the most part. Todd, I know that you deal with a lot of IMCA type deals, as you're a tech guy for IMCA sanctioned tracks up in the Northeast.
Yeah, definitely a tech guy. Do a lot of different things at our local track, and it's rather interesting to see what's going on with the different limitations. Just got back from a rules meeting too myself, and watching the evolution, and I'm going to say an evolution of some of the racing and some of the rules that have changed. It seems like we always go back to square one with the rules and that kind of stuff. And it's fantastic to see some of the racers' input and the passion that these racers have. And that, in this call and everything that you hear from the owner's aspect, all kinds of different aspects of things there, Jake. As I haven't got a chance to listen to it, and I'm the guy that's behind the button to push this to go live. And man, it's fantastic that we're able to do this. Fantastic to be a part of it, like I said. And I've ventured out and done a lot of announcing at some local tracks too. But it's definitely different being a tech guy and learning some of that kind of stuff.
Well, Todd, like I said, I want to thank you guys for bringing me in to the Full Velocity family here. We can bring these stories out to new ears and be able to, get people's voice out there. Our last episode had AJ Burns on it, and he's a POWERi midget driver, and trying to get some sponsorship for the 2019 season. That's what we're trying to do with this show, get voices out there and voices heard, and as well as talk about racing and bring new eyes to the sport. That is what we ultimately are here to do. And Phil, we'll start here. We're going to talk. You wanted to talk a little bit about NASCAR a little bit as it just ended. We're not gonna just stick to the dirt all the time. We're gonna talk a little bit of asphalt as well. So NASCAR just ended. Joey Logano is the champion. And what are some of your thoughts on that, Phil?
Well, giving Phil a live microphone right there after that question can be a really hot button type of thing. I don't want to get too much in depth on it, but I mean, Joey Logano, a champion, I really do have mixed emotions, because was he the best driver in the sport this year? I mean, I guess that's a debate you can have for a whole different day, a whole different show, but I mean, you got the likes, so say, the 4 team from Stewart Haas Racing with Kevin Harvick, and the 78 team Furniture Row with Martin Truex Jr. and, the number 18 Joe Gibbs Racing M&M's car for Kyle Busch. Those 3 drivers on the outside looking in, they really look like they dominated the sport this year. So it was fitting they were the top 3. It was that 4th driver that was kind of the wild card, I think, of the whole scenario. And you had to think it was more than likely going to have to come from the Penske camp. I would have thought of Brad Kay first over Logano, but Logano with the contact of Martinsville with Denny Hamlin and whatnot, I mean, puts him into the Final Four, and he was consistent through the playoffs, and he capitalized on a scenario I'm not sure he had all the right to be in, but nonetheless, 2018 Monster Cup Series champion is Joey Logano, and I'm not sure I like it, but I guess we just got to deal with it.
Well, I mean, we do have to deal with it until 2019. I mean, I'm not a Logano fan, but he put himself in the right situation to take home that championship. I thought it was Martin Truex's to lose, and he did just that right there at the end. What kind of story would it have been be able to say a team that is going out went out on top as the champion? But, now we'll see Truex transition into the number 19 car, and we'll see what he can do with Joe Gibbs' equipment. I know that number 78 was technically Joe Gibbs' fourth team over there, but now he's going to be fully in with the Joe Gibbs family, and I can't wait to see what he's able to do with that ride. I'm sorry, that would have been their fifth car. I forget the 20 exists sometimes. But Todd, we touched on IMCA a little bit, and I have some stuff lined up in the future to talk a little bit about the rule changes that IMCA has made this year that seemingly has kind of brought a lot of people into the idea of not running IMCA, maybe trying something different. Do you have any opinion on that, Todd?
Right now, I don't really have an opinion on it. It's a change that I was just made aware of just a few days ago. They do fight and try to get on those rules and get on the same kind of rules package. IMCA has been around for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah,
and that there's a reason why they've been around for a long time. They stick to their rules and they stick to their guns, and that's one of those things that's kept those classes legit. Whether they made the right decision or not, I'm not here to say. I mean, like tonight, we had divisions that aren't sanctioned by IMCA. We made their rules. Did we make the right decisions? I don't know. I mean, we asked the drivers for their input, but not every driver was there. Not every driver that's going to grace our track is going to be able to make a meeting. So are we going to make the right decisions? We may not. We may make a good decision. I mean, we had street stocks there tonight, and we had our four-cylinder front-wheel drive division with the trucks, and we made some decisions that were a little bit different, and we'll have to wait and see what happens and how it plays out. I have nothing really to say about the IMCA rules right now. I guess it's one of those things where you have to wait and see who's going to show up in that division.
Yeah, well, I mean, I work at a track that is both IMCA and USRA. I know we're USRA for the modifieds on a weekly basis, and then occasionally we have the IMCA modifieds there. But here down in the South, I mean, especially with the new sport mod rules, you're seeing a lot of guys trying, deciding whether they want to go run at an IMCA track or they want to jump ship to USRA. And it's going to be really interesting to see what 2019 has in stock for a lot of these local tracks. IMCA used to be king down in Texas, and now you're kind of seeing it go away a little bit. And it's a weird point that it's almost IMCA is at their strongest, but at the same time, you're seeing a resurgence of USRA. You're seeing the Tom Series down here in North Texas and Oklahoma is really starting to gain some steam. I mean, but then you have IMCA with their IMCA modifieds and the money they've got behind that, especially with IMCA.TV. But, it's going to be an interesting 2019 to see what goes on at our local dirt tracks. But without further ado, we've talked a little bit here. We're going to have a little bit more of a free form afterwards after this interview. But without any further ado, Todd, how about we send it straight to that interview with Bobbi Johnson? what you saved your pocket change for. The greatest show in the 580. Southern Oklahoma Speedway. The greatest show in the 580. Bobbi Johnson on the phones. Bobbi, thank you for joining us here in the race shop tonight. It's been a nice cold day. I've seen that you were enjoying the cold weather, but it's great to have you out or on the phone tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, it's absolutely very chilly up here tonight. I think with the wind chill and stuff, it's supposed to be right around 0. I believe they just said a while ago. We just walked out of the shop just a minute ago to come up and do some homework, and I was doing some T-shirt orders and stuff to be able to drop off at the post office after I go drop Jax off in the morning at school.
Awesome. I saw y'all were out playing a little bit. I guess Jax got to be out of school a little bit today.
Yeah, they have like a text message group or whatever, and about 10:30 they said the road conditions are going to get way worse, so they didn't want to endanger the kids, especially that all of them at the little church school that we take him to. We have to pick up and drop off and stuff there, so there's no buses for that. And yeah, so they said to come get your kid after they have lunch. So I ran down there and got him, picked him up. We came home, and I tried to get all the boys out of the shop to go play in the snow, but I don't think they were dressed for it today. We had to go get some ski clothes on just because the wind was blowing so bad. And while we were riding the golf cart, they always tell him safety first. So he said about getting our helmet. So we each put a helmet on, but it actually kept our cheeks and stuff really good. It wasn't freezing cold, so I took the helmets off, and then we could only play for a little while and then came inside.
Well, that's awesome. I saw it looked like he was having some fun out there. It looked like y'all were having some fun getting away from the shop a little bit. And, of course, he's probably elated to be out of school.
Yeah, no doubt. I think he was smiles ear to ear because he's been counting down the days. We're actually going to go to Disney World over Thanksgiving coming up. When we won Knoxville, that was the joke always. If you ever won Knoxville with our team and stuff, we were going to Disney World.
Yeah.
Anyways, Kenny Graber, one of our sponsors, is actually gonna. He had made plans with Jason early in the spring to go down at Thanksgiving and stuff at a time that we could all go and enjoy together. So at first I wasn't going to go, but then I thought, well, I need to, promise Jax, and Jason told him that we were going to. So anyways, we ended up getting some tickets, and we got some flights, and we leave out, I guess it's almost a 5-day deal. So I guess we'll see and do lots while we're down there.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure he's going to have a blast down there.
Yeah, I think he will. I'm kind of unsure. He's not, we haven't taken him to too many parks ever before. He likes to go see animals and stuff like that. But if he can't control stuff, he really doesn't like it, like I had said before. So you're trying to figure out a bunch of different things to be able to do or interact with him and things like that. So yeah, I don't know. I've never been, so it'll be a whole new experience for me too.
Wow, you've never been to Disney World? Well, it's a lot of fun. If he likes animals, they've got the Animal Kingdom down there. That's a really cool little place to go to, just from my personal experience of going to Disney World. So
yeah, we'll definitely have to go check that out. A few times that we've flown in or went anywhere near there, we were always with a RV and a T-shirt trailer and stuff. And Jason's like, "Let's go, let's get out of this traffic." So are all the people last year when we flew down there. So it would be definitely different, I guess. Being a holiday time, it might even be more packed than normal. So
yeah,
it'd be pretty wild.
Well, I was going to start this out. I wanted to talk a little bit. I wanted to talk about you. I'm sure you talk about racing and everything all the time, but I wanted to, get a little bit of background from you. So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Thomasville, Pennsylvania, which is outside of the biggest town is York, Pennsylvania, which is right near Abbottstown Lincoln Speedway, only a few miles from there and stuff. That's where I originally grew up, and I left there when I turned, I guess, 19. I had left there with Kevin Gobrecht back in the day, and then traveled with the World of Outlaws there for a while, for a year or so. And then the next year I had met Jason out on the road when I went back to travel and sell T-shirts out of with Ted Johnson out of the big 18-wheeler that they used to pull around back in the day.
Now, how long did you sell T-shirts with them?
I'd say for it was from May when I went out with Kevin till September when he had passed away and stuff, and then the next year I went out the whole entire year.
Oh, I got
99.
So 99, around that time.
99. I guess that was the couple months, and then 2000 is when I went the whole year because Jason and I ended up getting married out in Las Vegas, before the World of Outlaw banquet and stuff that day in November.
Wow, that's cool. Um,
Yeah.
so you grew up in Pennsylvania, of course, like hotbed for racing. Is that just kind of what brought you to racing, or how did that come about?
More so, my parents were really into it and stuff. There wasn't a weekend that we ever missed, and then we used to, for the longest time, for extra side money because we had animals and stuff like that and 4-H and everything.
Yeah,
We'd pick up trash on Sundays. So it's funny because I'm always taking my stuff to the trash can. It taught me a valuable lesson
yeah.
by going to the dirt track and having to pick up trash.
So,
But yeah, like they were always into it. My dad helped. There was a guy named Bobby Fletcher, Amico 66 car back in
uh
Pennsylvania.
huh.
Um, and yeah, I just remember going to the race shop and he would work on the car and hang out there. And they used to always have Mellow Yellow. They fed us, so we were good and hyper to go swimming and hang out and just having a good time around the race car. And then just gave us somebody like that we knew to cheer for. So we were all about going sit in the stands and holler for them.
So you grew up around Lincoln Speedway, kind of just grew up in racing then.
Yes, sir. Yeah, just that was not very far from the house and stuff. To be honest with you, like I look back, we didn't really have all that much money, so we
Hmm.
barely ever went to the Grove for special occasions once in a while. But when I got my license and stuff, I started working in the concession stand. Well, that gave me some gas money in a big old Chevy truck that my parents gave me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then I started going to more races. So yeah, used my whole paycheck to go to Williams Grove and Susky and everything else.
Man, I that would have been so cool living up there and being able to go to those kind of tracks. I'm, of course, like I said, I'm from Oklahoma City, so we lived kind of like you did to Lincoln to the State Fair Speedway here in Oklahoma City. And my
Yeah,
dad worked there, and so I grew up there as well. So kind of similar to that whole situation. But I remember watching Jason back in the ASCS days, and he was always one of my favorites. I always loved that 41 car. Uh, which brings me to, I was going to ask you how when did y'all start JJR? Was it back in the ASCS days, or was that like his family's organization, or what was going on there?
no, actually in 2010, we had gone to Australia and Mr. Laney, the original 41 star car that
Yeah.
everybody remembers in ASCS, he said that he was going to step back out of it and everything else. And we were going to buy all his equipment and everything. And then he ended up selling it pieces, piece by piece and stuff like that instead of a whole package deal. So we ended up just forming JGR in 2010. And then we had the Pope group down there in Greenville, Texas, that they gave us a shop. And then Alan Haynes from Australia that Jason was driving for over there had bought a race rig for us. The Bobcat family bought a whole thing of tools for us. And then it was just like it all fell into place and fell into play. And we went on to win 5 championships with ASCS at that point in time with our own team until like then we stepped up with the World of Outlaws in the last few years.
So when y'all made the jump from ASCS to World of Outlaws, how did that decision change how lived life, how life was around the shop and everything?
Jason said that he never wanted to go race with the World of Outlaws unless he could be one of them and stay at that plateau and that tier of caliber of drivers and stuff. And when we finally built up enough, more or less equipment and everything else, then he said he thought he was ready for it. And then we actually had a sponsor come in and, really, really want to go, like, what, yes, Jason, what's your goals? What do you want to do and stuff? And he said, I really want to race the World of Outlaws. He's like, well, he said, well, money, like money's the whole aspect here on this deal. And he said, all right, well, if I help you out, you'll go run it. And he said, heck yeah, behind us and stuff. And we ended up going race the World of Outlaws. And that first year was a trying So it's just a whole huge learning curve. And I mean, like the guys that are, you look at teams or people that have been out there, and a lot of
I
them
pissed
guys
it.
that
We
we're
were back.
racing against, heck, they were on cruise back in 2000. So
Yeah.
you're talking 18 years later, they're still out there, and
Yeah.
we're only at this will be our 5th year, you know what I mean, of that caliber and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely a different ball game.
Yeah, so big step from there. And I completely understand that. I've grown around ASCS, and it's a completely different ball game. ASCS is just now starting to get to that caliber of travel. But what's your favorite part about being a World of Outlaws team owner? Is it the people? Is it the fans? The travel? What is it about it that brings y'all to the World of Outlaws?
I'd say it's a different fan base. Nowadays you have a mix of NASCAR people to just your people that you saw 20 years ago and stuff like that. So it's just like, before, it's been very different for me as far as the fact of going down in the pit area and stuff. Like I haven't been down there in almost 4 years just because having Jacks, we're behind the grandstand selling T-shirts and stuff. So that's more or less what I really get to see. But I guess, then it's, the next thing's the dirt vision. Like for us behind the grandstands and stuff, when we can't go watch, to me, it's phenomenal. You know what I mean? That I can stand back there, sell T-shirts, keep fans happy along with sponsors and stuff, and talk about our products that are on that car and everything and interact. And then to see, like to be able to sit back there and see it and not have to close my stand down.
Yeah.
I just think it's a whole different caliber. But at the same time, like ASCS got us ready back in the day for, we traveled a ton with those, they went all the way to the West Coast, to the East Coast, and, from New York to Washington and stuff like that. So it got us kind of ready, but, there was a lot more days off and stuff between the travel, where the World of Outlaws is a totally grueling schedule. I mean, like with, I was in a meeting or whatever, down at Charlotte, and, like, everyone was trying to see, like, what track would be the best for this location or to this, to that, to, get you back across the United States the 2-3 times that you go and stuff without having more than a, 3, 4, 5 hour drive. But some of them are 6-8 hours between, each night and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but they're trying to do their best with it to make it way easier for us teams and stuff. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, the dirt vision, you were hitting on that. That's completely changed the ball game for the World of Outlaws this year, and it looks like now Knoxville Raceway next year has the implementation of them bringing every race to dirt vision. Has that helped with sponsorship? You can really say, hey, your name's going to be on TV every single night that we're on tour.
We haven't really used that as, in the next couple of weeks, I'll probably use that as a tool, to market ourselves and this JJR team with David Gravel behind the wheel. But at the same point, a lot of it is actually our sponsors. For once, it's awesome because, we only get a lot of them from different areas that are on the 41 car. And they don't get to see us but 1, 2, 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Even past sponsors and stuff, like now they get to watch and text and call and, say about this and that. And, oh, that place looks pretty cool. That's on my bucket list. I want to go see it, So it gives a fan or a viewer from home a whole different aspect of, seeing a racetrack or being able to watch that car race, when they can't go and stuff. So I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, that I didn't even think about that. You can tell your sponsor, hey, we're on Dirt Vision. Here, you can watch your car, and they actually get to see them more than a couple times a year. So, the travel is grueling, like you said. But what's been the difference in you basically taking the reins here near the end of 2018 in your role with the team?
I so miss Jason Johnson right now. Like, I guess I didn't give him as much credit that credit was due on the whole sponsorship side, I guess, because we are a family team and it's all ran off of sponsorship dollars. So, Now I can see, why he has an alarm clock on his phone and stuff, that says go to bed at 11 o'clock. Because if you don't, you stay up all night trying to tie up this loose end, see about this, research this, look at this, get this done, and then my biggest deal is like, when we're at a team, he just concentrated on that, where now I'm trying to do that, plus go see the boys and, in the shop and make sure we're all on the same page and we got communication in the shop this winter before we take off on the road next year, to keep it where we're all gelled together. But at the same point, then I know I got some upset fans and stuff because either I can't get the stuff ordered fast enough before I sell out, or it's just we're already out from the weekend, so now I can substitute this product or do this or give your money back. Like, I'm happy to do whatever. It's just it's sometimes way overwhelming than what most people see or do. I mean, I feel like I get home and from at 5:30 when I get up in the morning till some nights, it's 1, 2, 3 in the morning. I'm going to bed just to try to make sure somewhat the next day is going to go somewhat to plan and get this in and get that in, or thank you cards written out for everyone's generous, being generous and stuff, still donating and doing this or helping us out on that. And it's very overwhelming, I guess you could say, on taking the whole team over.
I can imagine that. I mean, especially still dealing with all the t-shirts and now trying to find new sponsors. And, of course, the driver search was probably an intense line of business for you this year. What was it like trying to find that new driver for 2019?
Yeah, we ultimately would have liked to just leave Carson in there and stuff, but that didn't pan out at all and stuff, but that's all right, but it was just like he fell in, he fit right in the seat. We didn't have to do much and stuff, so that was pretty awesome at that point in time. But then when we started talking to other drivers, there's so many variables that most don't look into. Like, we were talking to a beer company, well, then that kicked out half my young drivers that I was looking at. You can't market most people don't think that, and they're kind of bagging me now, like on that messenger at times, saying about this or that, or you said about you wanted to give a young guy a shot. Well, different things that we're trying to obtain or go after, like I guess some people don't see the whole big picture that is behind the scenes. So just trying to make this work and that fit and everything else that a lot of guys is pretty awesome. A lot of them do come with sponsorship of their own and stuff. And to a family team like ours, that's huge to help us out. But then in the same sense, Philip kept making mention that Jason, his deal was that he didn't want he still wanted to work hard to go after a sponsorship. Like, he enjoyed that part, he enjoyed that challenge and stuff. So he we didn't want to make Philip thought that if we made the 41 car like a rent-a-ride, that Jason wouldn't be happy with us. So we need to keep the values and integrity and stuff of the team and, work hard and land that major sponsor to put on this 41 car.
So basically do it exactly how Jason would have wanted to do it.
Yeah, that's what or 100 times in the day, like, you question yourself, or you say, what would Jason do in this, instant? And like, it was pretty awesome because he was always a person that he, he might have not talked a lot at the track to some people as far as he was there to race business, put food on our table and stuff. Now, after the races, he was all about joking and cutting up and laughing. And if there's any downtime, he was always doing something. But like, he was, it was just a deal that we constantly look at ourselves saying, oh, what would he do in this scenario? Even with this driver, it's like, okay, we asked all of our sponsors what they thought. Everyone gave back feedback, and then, we went down the list and did pros and cons and this and that. And, and then it gave us like, I guess, only like 3 drivers really that at the end that we were really looking at and stuff. And then, then we're like, oh, well, okay, personally, I started saying, well, okay, I know this one, I really don't know this one. Who talks to Jax? Who interacts? Who does this? And there's, I mean, like I said, it's just so many variables that come into play that you hope you pick the right fit.
Yeah.
And, it's pretty funny because, like, some of the, I guess you could say, just like having David Gravel behind the wheel this coming year, like, he's already like tons of interaction. He has me when I was at the gym this morning on a group text about the PRI show with Philip and trying to get all that panned out and ready to go, and just just a bunch of different stuff, like,
being very
that
hands-on.
you don't think of, but yeah, very much so. And I super appreciative, because he's been bringing up things that, like, we really didn't look at, or or could use help in, I guess.
Yeah.
So definitely awesome at this point right now.
And I'm sure him being, as experienced on the tour as a driver, and, he's been through it on that side, is helping you, as pretty much you're not a first-time owner because you were partially the owner of JJR with your husband, but, really helping you fill in those gaps that Jason would have thought of, or, the things that wouldn't even come to mind.
Yes, definitely. I'm trying to think of different things that came up or whatever. I can't think of anything right now,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just, even when Philip and I were down to the last deal and talking about, this, that, and, I my heart sank, and I was like, man, I don't know if I want to go back like we were, 3-4 years ago, like that first rookie year, because it was growing on myself, let alone Jason. Like, there's a lot of nights that his head was hung, and, I had to be the cheerleader, or he was the cheerleader to me if we sold one T-shirt at the racetrack,
Yeah.
Like, man, what can we do different? How can we do this better? And he's like, just smile, just keep talking. He'll get better, I promise. And I'm like, well, just sit up in the damn seat and win a race, then he'll get really better. But it took us a while to get that first race win and stuff. So yeah, it was just like, man, Philip and I said, ooh, we don't know if we can, at this point in our lives, maybe down the track, we might be able to give a young gun a opportunity like that. But right now, like, for what's going on and everything else, we thought maybe somebody with a little bit of experience out there would be our better fit and stuff when it came down to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't let the, keyboard warriors get to you on that part, because, they don't understand what's best for a race team, what's best for you guys personally. And, it kind of sounds like David Gravel's becoming that kind of great fit, checks off the list, and especially stuff that it sounds like Jason would have wanted for the race team.
Yeah, very much so. And I mean, like, Jason always Gravel always, said hi and spoke to us as a family and stuff like that. And then we always spoke to their family and hung out a little bit and stuff. So I think it's, it's just going to be two big families, I guess, more family oriented and everything, and hope to have some great times ahead, really.
Well, I've always been a fan of Jason. I got a chance to meet him way back whenever I was younger, when he was running at the ASCS. And, one of the things that I always liked about him was the personality, and he was personable. He was, he was always out there for the fans. Like you said, it was business time before the race, but when the pits opened up at the end of the night, he was, right there for the fans, and big smile on his face and all that. So, I've always been a personal fan of Jason. When he went to the World of Outlaws, I was real excited to see what y'all could do. He dominated ASCS there for what seemed like forever. And I always like seeing someone come up and have success like y'all did. And I kick myself now because I had a chance to drive up to Knoxville the year y'all won the Nationals with one of my personal friends. He drove up on that Saturday just to go to the Saturday show, and I kicked myself for not going. But what was that night like for y'all as a race team, as a wife, as everything?
Definitely storybook material. I mean, to come in as kind of an underdog and to actually race Donnie side by side, and I mean, for, it seemed like forever. I mean, them last laps sitting in that suite they're all like,
Oh,
oh
I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, oh no, like it is not over till, well, first off, till you clear the scales, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like we couldn't even see from over in the Hall of Fame. You couldn't even see, like, it was that close coming down through. You're like looking at each other like, waiting, on somebody, Baco or Gibson, to announce, who got it, who won, what's going on and stuff. And then, at that point, like, it was just celebration beyond celebration and stuff. And that night, well, down in Victory Lane, I mean, just the, it was like, he's like, we really going to Disney World? I'm like, well, yeah, we always said. And he's like, you really want to go? I'm like, well, yeah, but not right now, Because we ended up going to, the last 2 years, we got to take Jax over to Australia, and he's asking about that right now. But, yeah, so it just gave us a whole different aspect of, wow, this is just, that was probably, Jason has hardly anything racing wise in this house. Everything's really contemporary and modern and stuff, out here in the country. And, that his big trophy, he did like the first wall, or we had a water leak over the winter, and, like the walls all had to be fixed and everything else. And the first picture that he hung on the wall was, the Knoxville picture. And then it has like the check that, one of our sponsors had bought at an auction.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and then the trophy sits there in the hallway. So every day you get up, you walk down through, and I know it made him smile beyond smile all the time. Like, man, it was, wow, I won that, So, and then he would say, just in the last few months or whatever, that I can't believe people are still talking about history. That was 2 damn years ago,
I mean,
So let's, like, on to this year and the next year. Yeah, like, okay, well, I can't believe they're still talking about it, he'd say. It was funny.
still talking about it because he's the first one to beat Donnie in forever. I mean, you know, how many Jason Johnson's fans were born that night? I mean, it was an unbelievable night. But I'd been to the Nationals many times, and it seemed like it was always Steve Kinser's winning it. Now Donnie Schatz is winning it, and so for Jason to win it, it was just that much more special because, like you said, y'all were the underdogs, and y'all were this little race team that came from ASCS, and now you're winning the biggest one there is in dirt racing. So I mean, it had to have been absolute euphoria up there. But everything that's happened this year to come back to Knoxville with Carson at the 360 Nationals, and then of course the 410 after, how did it feel for Carson to take that 41 to victory lane on his prelim night? Personally, talking to fellow fans and myself, it was a big, almost healing moment, and like, okay, it's okay to be at the track again moment for us fans.
Yeah, I guess I believe in God. So, like, before we went there, I kind of said a little prayer, like, if this is meant to be and we're supposed to continue on, like, show us, like, let us know that this is right, like what Philip and I are doing or wanting to do and stuff like that. And it was like, that was a moment that you're like, okay, this is a for real deal, like,
Yeah.
this is what you want us to do, type thing. But I sit here and I can only remember bits and pieces. I guess just because I was overwhelmed more so than anything. Of I don't, I really don't. I remember talking to a lot of people, but and going to see about Jax a lot more so, and just actually just sitting in the coach, taking a minute to breathe to get through it. Like, It was so much mixed bag of emotions, all the time, and it still is all the time. I mean, it's so many memories, of this going on, that going on, even like today outside, of in the snow, it's all the memories pop up all the time, because I had to shovel the snow today where Jason always shoveled it and got salt and did this and did that.
Yeah.
And it's like, just the day before, I'm out using his big leaf vac because we got, 20 acres here, and trying to suck up the leaves so the yard doesn't look bad, to keep him happy. And it's like, man, it's just overwhelming. But, and it was just, I don't know, just overwhelming, I guess, at that point and stuff. But it was so cool that so many people believed in us and came like onto that race car at that time and stood behind us and just made that thing go and go straight to the front. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, you mentioned you believe in God and everything, and I mean, I am a believer in God as well. And when it happened, when everything went down, the first thing that I thought of was, well, I hope God is a race fan because he's about to see a hell of a show up there. And it, like I said, y'all winning at Knoxville this year, and even it was a prelim night. It was just like a big relief to a lot of the fans, and we all want you to know that we're still behind you, and like I am a forever 41 fan now. I mean, I was a fan of Jason's before, but like just to see what y'all have done and what you've personally done to keep this thing going, because it's what Jason would want. It's awesome. It's one of the greatest things about this sport.
I mean, he never, he was always, I can't remember like years ago of him. He's always positive, but like just in the last few years, he's been so much more motivational, positive for not only us, but sponsors, for just fans too. Like fans would come talk, and then he'd like get them on a group text and send them some positive quotes, and the boys, Philip's continuing that right now and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's definitely a different deal, I guess, on the whole aspect of everything. Of I didn't think I was that. I mean, I don't feel that I'm that strong of a person. I just feel like it's the right thing in my heart to do to continue on and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely, definitely a struggle a lot of days around here to keep everything,
I can't imagine.
From the housework to Jax's homework, little guys in kindergarten, and some nights it's piled up there. And then when we take him out to go travel and stuff, it's like, wow, even more. we're doing that sometimes at the last minute to get him back to school the next day or going down the race rig. So it's definitely different.
Well, you mentioned in Jax, what's it like taking him on the road? Because it seems like every time y'all are at a race, he is the life of the party everywhere he is.
Yeah, he so enjoys going racing. I mean, he just, I think that's going to be our biggest struggle this winter is he's already asking, when do we go? Where do we go? Luckily, this coming weekend, Travis Marsh, the PPC people, the powder coater people around here, he's getting married to Megan. So Philip's in a wedding and stuff, and then we're all going to a hotel. So I'm like, we're not going racing, but we're going with the racing people. So it'll be all right, But he's like, it's just such a different change of lifestyle for the little guy. I think it's more hard that way to not go all the time or, kind of not have that motorhome right now. And we just hop in the race rig, or we go with Jason's mom and dad, or, going to Pennsylvania. We got on a plane and we flew in to go be able to trick or treat and do this and do that with a bunch of sponsors. And so, but he still smiles all the time. He's still happy as can be. Tonight they were shooting darts down. He was mad at me. He said that I told Uncle Phil where he was hiding between the wings and stuff, and it looked like a bomb went off down there with all the 500 bullets that the KOA people thought that he needed and stuff.
Oh goodness.
But but he really enjoys going racing. So when he doesn't, then things will probably change around here, because I don't want it to be a strain on him and stuff. But we just gotta. It's funny because like all the sponsors and everyone come together to help me like get his homework done and his schoolwork for when we do miss and stuff like that. Or, the other day that putting names and numbers on race cars and trying to do sounds with him so he stays on target, to keep him in school so he don't fall behind and everything. So, it's all good with him, really.
So he just loves being at the track, but do you think he's gonna want to follow in his dad's footsteps as a race car driver?
At this point, no. I think Jason would tell you that I scared him or whatever. I'm kind of more the fun stopper, I guess you could say. Like, I always look at the consequences or get hurt or whatever, you know what I mean? So, kind of more reserved, a lot more than the boys all are. And Jack seems to have followed like after suit with me. Which, today going out in the golf cart, I said, well, he said, well, I can't reach. I said, well, I'll do the guess and the break and you steer it. So, we went and did that, and, he had a blast, but he's like, I done, he hops over to the other side, like, you go ahead. It isn't something that he seems like he really has passion for, or really, wants to drive everything that he touches or anything like that. So I'm not totally for sure what, man upstairs and Jason got planned for that little guy, but it'll be all good, whatever it is.
Well, I know that we love seeing the videos and everything of him. I mean, he just seems like he loves just doing and being around people, and like I said, he looks like the life of the party every time I see something on Facebook or the internet, whatever, wherever it's at. So I mean, I'm sure the sponsors love him being around as well.
Yeah, very much so. Sometimes that's a selling point for us, really, around here. Just because they're like, oh, I'll take him, I'll do this, we'll go do this, let's go here, let's go miniature golfing, and just showing him, all sorts of different, unique stuff, I guess, more so. Going to Australia and stuff, it just, to me, it feels like it well-rounded him, showing him, how to travel in different places, and kind of don't be scared. He's more scared to walk into that school just because I think it's the same place going into than all the different places that he's so used to going in, talking to adults and everything else. He's like, who are these people? Little kids his size and stuff is really all he really did or played with is Nixon, but she writes him all the time saying she misses him and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Well, Bobbi, I don't want to hold you up all night long, but I really want to thank you for coming on. It's
asking about his
really
team
great
more so than anything.
So I've been really excited to do
an honor.
this
Thank you.
and talk to you. So I really thank you for coming on with us, and hopefully this isn't the last time we get to talk to each other.
No, thank you very much for having me and stuff. Greatly appreciate it and everything. I know Jason would be proud to know that, that folks like you are asking about his team more so than anything. So it's really, really an honor. Thank you.
Just got off the phone with Bobbi Johnson there. Thank you, Bobbi, once again for coming on the Race Shop Live, our first episode here on Full Velocity Radio. We got some housekeeping notes to get in real quick. Tomorrow night we'll be back here live on Full Velocity TV with the Jackpot Modified Series. They're going to be doing a randomizer to get the track ready for tomorrow night. We don't know what track that'll be at. We'll know about a few minutes before we actually go live. So it's a pretty cool event there every Tuesday on Full Velocity TV, as well as Wednesday. We are back with the DWR Wednesday night street fights with the street stock there. So that's going to be a great event there. Gotta love the DWR guys every Wednesday night. And don't forget about the Gobbler coming up on November 29th. Street Stocks. 17 entries left in that one, Phil. We're going to have a big slate of races here coming on Full Velocity TV.
No, absolutely right, Jake. We are going to be completely just overly well and busy. Not so far stressed out here at the Thanksgiving holiday, but we definitely got a bunch here to come. You said D1RT Jackpot Modified Series presented by VLR tomorrow night. That is going to be a lot of fun. Tuesdays have been great over at VLR, and then as you said, Wednesday night, back on the air over at Dirt Warrior Racing. That is going to be a lot of fun, too, with Wednesday night street fights. And then we take a couple of day break, celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday. We come back at it on Saturday night. We're over at Hard Motorsports for the season finale of the Street Stock Series at the Kokomo Raceway. So that's going to be a heck of a lot of fun as well. And then back at it on Sunday with the finale for our friends over at FTF Racing. for their 2018 Verizon Cup Series Championship Final Four race at Homestead. So we have a jam-packed couple of days coming up. So to all you guys that are tuning in for the first time here to Full Velocity Radio, Full Velocity TV, we can't wait to get on the airwaves at all those events and be back here, 1 week from tonight with another edition of the Race Shop Podcast.
Yeah, and we've been seeing in some of the chat tonight, people are really excited to hear from Bobbi. They're, I see a guy named Justin out there wanting to talk about 2019 with this 41 car running full time. He looks like he's real excited to see that car back at Eldora. Phil, Todd, the 41's going to be back live in the World of Outlaws, full season there in that number 41 with David Gravel. What do you think about that car coming back full time on the World of Outlaws tour? For the fans, for the drivers, it's got to be a big, big moment for that 41 to come back out.
Oh, it really is. It is going to be really, really cool to see that car return to the Speedway full time. Of course, that 41 that Jason made just iconic out there in the World of Outlaws, and just so cool to see it come back. And with a hot shoe like David Gravel behind the wheel, there's not too many good guys you could pick on a short list that are knowing how to wheel around all the dirt tracks all over the land to that, any more than David Gravel does. So that is a great shoe out there. And I know there's been a whole lot of more movement with silly season going on that you're very well tuned in, Jake, that I think we're going to touch on here over the next couple of weeks as well. So, but yeah, it's a feel-good moment, and I'm sure Todd will agree with me to see that 41 come back in 2019. Forever going to have a fan here in that car because Jason was a hell of a guy, a great competitor, and just one of those that we've lost far too soon.
You're absolutely right, Phil. That Jason, he was beloved. The Knoxville Nationals in 2016 was probably his crowning moment as he's arrived. He's with the Outlaws, and he's here to stay. And unfortunately, we lost him way too soon. But his memory is living on through that number 41, through Bobbi, through Jax, through Philip over there, and of course through David Gravel, who I really suspect is going to have a fantastic season in that number 41 car. But, we're coming to a close here for this week's edition of the Race Shop Podcast, the Race Shop Live on Full Velocity TV. We want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And, of course, our sponsors tonight, Spatafor Firearms, Dirt Series, DWR, the Hobo Racing League, Monstar Productions, Ibex Motorsports, Harold Fab and Chassis, and of course Crazy J's Kettle Corn. We want to do a quick announcement here. There will be more details come out tomorrow night, but as you know, the people that have been following our coverage for the Gobbler coming up on the 29th, there is a car that is going to be sponsored by Full Velocity TV that was given away last week to one lucky iRacer who has a spot in the Gobbler on Full Velocity TV. As a courtesy from us, we're giving out that spot. Well, I'm here to announce tonight that we are also taking up another spot that we're going to give away on the broadcast tomorrow night with the Full Velocity Radio, the Race Shop Podcast, and Monstar Productions all bringing that car to the Gobbler there. Todd, tell the folks a little bit about what they got to do to win a spot in that car.
Well, tomorrow night, we're going to be on VLR. We're going to be the Jackpot Modified Series, and we got to thank those guys. Got to thank Rocky Battenfield and them guys enough. Those guys do a fantastic job, and got to thank Rocky for letting us give away a couple of cars. And we paid the entry fee here for Full Velocity TV, and then we're going to make sure that they get in the race. The money's all theirs. How you're going to win this event? You got to share and then put share into our chat box here tomorrow night, whether it is Facebook, whether it is YouTube or Twitch. We will monitor all three chats, and then we will draw it. It may take the very next day. We will put you all in a randomizer, and then the randomizer will pick a name there to be into the Gobbler. It'll be a fantastic show. I'm going to tell you, it's going to be something you're not going to want to miss. Fix set up 120 entries here. $20 a piece. Great payout throughout the whole field. And it's something you're going to want to be a part of there as the Gobbler here. And Rocky Battenfield has put in a lot of time and effort, same way with the VLR guys over there. And a lot of top-notch drivers signed up already.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. All you have to do is share the broadcast tomorrow night. Comment, share on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, wherever you're watching Full Velocity TV to win your way into the Gobbler November 29th. Like I said, there's only 17 entries left. So after tomorrow night, if you do not win that, you better get on it if you want to join the Gobbler. But ladies and gentlemen, for all of us here at Full Velocity TV, Full Velocity Radio, the Race Shop Live, for Phil, for Todd, for Martin watching at home, thank you guys for having us again tonight, and we will see you tomorrow night with the Jackpot Modified Series. Thanks for joining us in the Race Shop.